welcome back to the channel. Been a few days. You guys are crying like little babies about everything. Fucking ballrooms. Fucking, I mean, I can't even keep up with your tears, quite frankly. I don't have time to keep up with your tears anymore. So you cry about everything. It's so crazy. The crying about Trump day in and day out. Ain't y'all tired of that shit? Like, get a life with the Trump shit, bro. I'm so glad we had 4 years of Biden so everybody could see that I don't act like you. You didn't see me wishing death on Joe Biden. You didn't see me freaking out about how Joe Biden decorated the Oval Office. Because who gives a shit? The president's allowed to decorate the Oval Office any way he wants. The president's allowed to remodel the White House. He's allowed to do those things. This is how it is. Get over it. Presidents have been doing it forever. The thing that's so weird about the East Wing thing is Trump is tearing down, he tore the East Wing down to rebuild it back better. I thought y'all liked building back better. What happened to that? Build back better. These people are so goofy, bro. They're like, there was already a place to have dinners. No, there wasn't. That's why every time we had state dinners, they had to set up tents on the lawn outside. There's pictures of it. I didn't know all this until the other day when that's the problem. Let me, if you want the best piece of advice of why you should stop fucking trying to gaslight everybody and lie to everybody constantly, it's this right here. We're going to go look into it and we're going to figure out you're fucking full of shit and it's going to just ruin your credibility. You have no credibility at all. Like nobody has any reason to trust you. And here's another example of it. You go look into it. There's a long history of remodeling the White House. One president, can't remember who it was, tore the Oval Office down and rebuilt it. He's allowed to do that. Who cares? Didn't hear you crying about it. You're like, I wasn't alive back then. Well, you wouldn't have been crying about it because the news didn't tell you to cry. If the news tells you to cry about it, you're going to cry about it. You don't control your own mind. The TV does. And influencers do. That's why they call them influencers, because they influence you. It's in the name there. They influence you to be a retard. And I don't care about no kings. We don't have a king. Trump's far from a king. A king doesn't have to worry about the courts and all this other shit. A king doesn't have to worry about winning the midterms and all this other shit. So that's such silliness. That king stuff is silly. And then Trump trolls them and they're like, well, if he doesn't think he's a king, why does he post this? Because he's fucking with you. How many times I got to explain this to you idiots? Trump does that so you'll have a nervous breakdown. And every time you have a nervous breakdown, you lose voters. Can anybody explain to me what 6'7" is about? I'm old. I don't really know what that's about. I see people saying it, but I have no idea what the fuck you're talking. I don't know what that is. So, I don't know what it means. But hey, the kids are into it. Oh, you slipped up. Type 6'8". So you're not going to explain it to me? I have no idea what it means. My girl was talking about it, and I was like, I don't know nothing about it. I mean, I've heard of this, but I'm not sure why it's a thing. You kids are into some weird shit. I read earlier that the young people, they don't like Trump and they don't like Democrats. They're looking for something else. And you know what that something else is? Hitler. It's Hitler. The kids are into Hitler. I don't know if you've noticed this. I don't know if anybody's told you, but the kids seem to be into Hitler. I don't think that's a good thing, but I understand why. Because I've been talking about it for the last 10 years. I've been telling you, all this stuff you're doing is going to lead to people actually becoming Nazis. That's the ironic part about it. Is 10 years ago, there really wasn't any Nazis, you know? Yeah, there were some goofs here and there, of course, but there's always some goofs, right? There's always somebody that believes some goofy shit. You're never going to have zero Nazis in the world. You're always going to have at least one Nazi guy. You're always going to be able to find one goofy Nazi guy that likes Hitler, but you didn't see like Nazi shit all over social media. Like I see it on Facebook, X, it's everywhere. The Hitler stuff. Hitler speeches in English and all this shit. You've seen it. 10 years ago, you'd have never saw something like that. It would have just been, I mean, you could find it on the internet, right? You could go look for it, but you'd have to go digging for something like that. You couldn't. It wasn't all over social media and YouTube. And you think you wouldn't see it on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Fuck yeah, it's on YouTube. The Hitler stuff, it's on YouTube too. I'm not allowed to be on there, even though I'm on there. But Hitler can be. Ain't that crazy? Maybe that's how I should appeal to YouTube. I should say, yeah, Hitler's on here. I can't be worse than Hitler. You tell me I'm worse than Hitler? Who'd I kill? Nobody. Some kid's like, who did Hitler kill? He's typing it right now. Who did Hitler kill? But how did we get here to the Hitler stuff? How did we get here with all these people? It's the left that did it. Everybody wants to blame this person and blame that person. It's the left that did all this. The left called everybody Nazis for having right-wing political views. Even the most, if Charlie Kirk's a moderate, right? And he's a Nazi. So even the most moderate conservative guy was labeled a Nazi. He was put on the same level as Hitler and anyone else. David Duke, all these. Remember all that? There's no difference. They said it countless times. Well, there's consequences. I've said this many times. There's consequences for doing this shit. And you're living the consequences now. So you have an entire generation of people that grew up under that, seeing that, and they started asking themselves, well, if these people label every right-wing person a Nazi, and the people they were labeling Nazis were not Nazis, and they just had moderate conservative views. Well, you labeled them a Nazi. So now the children saw that and thought, well, these people just lying. These people just label everybody they don't like a Nazi. And you kept on going and you kept on going to eventually these people started actually looking into what Hitler said, and they wanted to learn more, and because they don't trust you. Do you understand that? You did this. So I get so sick of seeing you all cry about it when it's your fault. You did this to yourselves. I used to tell Junie all the time, Junie, stop calling everybody a fucking Nazi. Stop attacking religion so hard. Stop doing all these things. Because what's going to happen is the opposite of what you want to happen is going to happen. So if you attack Christians and religion and yada, 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 eventually you're going to get Christian control. Christians are going to rule over you because politicians, you got to understand politics, and you don't. You're too fucking retarded. A lot of you want to talk politics, but you're too stupid to talk about it, and you shouldn't talk about it. You should just go talk about video games or whatever you're into, but you should stay out of these topics because you don't know anything about them. I'm actually interested in this stuff, so I actually read a lot about it and watch things, and I like to see all viewpoints. You know, I like to see what the Hitler people are saying. I like to see what the left is saying. I like to see what the moderates are saying. I like to see what everybody's saying. Get a full picture. Get all the opinions, and then think about them. Think about them all. And think about what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. You put yourself in an echo chamber and just didn't want to hear this, didn't want to hear that. I'm not scared of nobody's opinion. I'm not scared of some guy telling me all about the Jews and how the Jews are out there. I don't believe that, but I'm not afraid to hear him out. I'm not afraid that he's going to be able to convince me that Nazism is the way to go. A lot of you seem worried that if you hear these people out, they might convince you. I've heard them out. They haven't convinced. I think they sound retarded as the liberals, but when you censor, young kids don't understand what I'm saying. Young kids don't get it. They don't understand that just because something is censored doesn't mean it's actually a good thing. It doesn't mean like what that's being said is good. They think that if it's being censored, it must be good. It must be what they don't want us to hear. And these are good things. And the left did that. The left did that shit to themselves. You created a whole generation of kids who were told you can't hear this, what this person has to say, and you can't hear. And see, you can't listen to Charlie Kirk. And when they go hear Charlie Kirk, they'd say, what's wrong with this? Well, he's just like Hitler. And they would say, well, damn, what was Hitler saying? Because if they're lying to me about what Charlie Kirk's saying, I guess they're lying to me about what Hitler's saying. And the kids went and listened to Hitler. And I guess they fell under the Hitler spell. You forget Hitler had motherfuckers under a spell. Hitler like ruled over a country and shit. You think he wasn't saying some shit that resonated with the people? Retard. So why would you push people to go hear him out? Why would you push people to go hear that shit? And that's what you did when you labeled Trump and Charlie Kirk and all these people Nazis. People hear Trump, they go, well, I like Trump. And if they're telling me Trump is like Hitler, maybe they're lying to me about Hitler. Good job, guys. Good job creating a generation of Nazis. Good job, guys. What else will you do? And of course, all these kids are more religious than you and me. Why? Because you told them religion was bad. But they saw that you were bad. They saw how bad you were, and they said, well, fuck, this is the bad guy. So whoever he's telling me is the bad guy, they must be the good guys. It's really that simple, and that's the way a young child thinks. Got to wrap your head around how a teenager thinks. You've been one, so you should be able to do this. They don't have life experience. They haven't lived a life to learn anything. You know, they haven't fallen into a rabbit hole and ran their mouth and then been wrong about it and felt stupid and embarrassed. They haven't lived that life. They haven't done anything. So they're just young kids, and they're just into this shit because they feel like you're the enemy, you're the bad guy, and whoever you label as the bad guy must be the good guy. And eventually they'll, you know, a lot of them will learn, you know, that it's not, life ain't that simple. Just because these people are bad does not mean these people over here are good. They're bad too. Bad people exist on both sides of the political aisle. So, but I don't expect a 17-year-old to understand that. You know, when I was a teenager, I thought, well, Democrats and Republicans are all the same. But I've grown up and I've realized that's not true. People still say that to me, and it's just cute. It's like, yeah, I used to think that way too when I was 15. But when you get 38, you start looking around. When you get 38 and You have to pay your bills. You have to work. You have to live a normal life. You have to be an adult. That's why you start to lean conservative. It has nothing to do with divorce and all these goofy things. Parr says it's about maturing and growing up. See, you can't expect a guy like Parr to understand this because he's got daddy and mommy holding the hand. I don't think you truly grow up until you can't call your parents anymore. You can't rely on them for anything. As long as you have the lifeline of the parents. If things fall apart, I can always call daddy. Mama, answer the phone. When you don't have mama and daddy to call, that's when you have to grow up. And that's when you start realizing that these goofy leftist beliefs and stuff, that just don't work. Sound good on paper, don't work in principle. That's true. Republicans are only different now because MAGA took over the party and changed the party. That's true. That is very true. I'm not brainwashed by any media. Brainwashed about what? I'm too busy working to be brainwashed. I reject your liberal lie, your liberal mindset. I reject it. You know what happened when I started rejecting the liberal mindset? A funny thing happened. My life started getting better. It's crazy how when you reject the liberal mindset, the weak, soft liberal mindset of I'm a victim and the world owes me things. And don't work hard at your job. Just, go in there and fuck off all day. And then wonder why you don't make any money. The liberal lie has been forced on a generation. And that generation just got fucked. It's not even their fault. They were mind fucked by propaganda like you've never seen. And this is why you're seeing this Andrew Tate and all these things that you see now. All this, what do they call it? Not the red pill thing, but there's a word for it. But you see all these things now. All these people, get in the gym, and all these young kids want to get in the gym. It's because they're rejecting this lie they've been told. This lie, they've watched this lie ruin an entire generation of people and ruin the country they live in, and they reject it. And this is why they don't want to vote Trump. They don't want to vote because Trump is still, in some ways, part of that lie. There's the young kids are rejecting it completely. They want something fresh. They want something new. And it ain't Democrats. The Democrats ain't got nothing. The Democrats did all this. But Trump isn't hard enough. That's what it is. Trump isn't hard. And Trump goes pretty hard. And for these young kids, he's not going hard enough. And that's the future. Those young kids are the future. It ain't you and me. We're on our way out. Maybe not tomorrow, but, we're going to be out of here way before them. And, of course, the left was in the schools trying to mind fuck them with all this bullshit. You know what I mean? These kids grew up with all that. These kids grew up being on the internet, being on social media, seeing all this stuff, and then being in the school system, seeing it firsthand. And then seeing liberals sit on TV and social media and say it's not happening. They go to school every day and it is happening. It's like my daughter told me, she was like, because I asked her, I was like, do people, what's going on with the school? Is there people with litter boxes? What is all this? You ever seen somebody with a litter box? You hear these things on the internet. And she said, oh, no litter box. She said, but kids do dress up as furries and stuff. There are furries and they are allowed to dress as furries and come into the school. I'm like, what? Now, if this is going on in a school in Kentucky, this is going on in New York heavy. if they're letting kids dress up as cats and dogs in the school, and I'm not talking about for Halloween, nerd. I'm talking about high school kids dress up as a cat. If they're doing this in the schools in Kentucky, they're doing it in New York. They're doing a lot more. Like, that makes me believe the litter box thing a little bit, because it's like, okay, if in Kentucky school, in like a red area, kids are allowed to dress up as cats and shit, why is it so hard to believe that in like a real blue area like Portland, Oregon or something, there's like a litter box in the bathroom? Is that so far-fetched? And liberals get so mad that people believe that shit. What they should get mad about is the fact that their party has become so bad that people actually believe that. That people hear that and then they go, even if you don't believe it, there's going to be part of you that goes, I mean, maybe, but I doubt it. I think that's where most people are at when they hear that. They're like, well, maybe. The fact that anyone would even consider that it's happening. And if we really got down to it and we had the laptop like we used to, and we decided, what we're going to do for the next hour? We're going to figure out if this really happened or not. There's a part of me that feels like we'd find that. We'd actually find out it was true. And by the end of this stream, we'd be like, holy shit, that's real. How many times have I got on here, some far-fetched, goofy shit everybody was saying, and I got on here to debunk it, really, and then we started looking into it, and it was real. We couldn't debunk it. Here it is. It's real. How many times I've done that? I've tried to help you liberals. I've tried to say, oh, come on, this is crazy. Now, these right-wing people have lost their mind today, what they're saying today, and then you go look into it, you're like, God damn, they're right again. You are doing that shit. You think I always believed you were cutting little kids' dicks off and cutting little girls' breasts off and shit? No, when I first heard that, I was like, they're not doing that. That's stuff. That's like adults, like Caitlyn Jenner or something. And if a grown man want to cut his dick off, it ain't my business, bruh. It ain't my business that a 6-year-old man wants to get rid of his cock. I don't really care. Is it weird? Yes. Would I advise against it? Yes. Do I feel bad when I see it? Yeah. But am I going to raise a big fuss about it? No, who cares? Should we have laws passed? Yeah, probably not. I mean, maybe. There is something weird about a doctor that will cut your cock off for cosmetic reasons. There's something weird about all this. And I've said this for a long time, the cosmetic shit. Not just the cutting the dicks off and the breast off, but I'm going to put a giant bolt through your face or what. There's just so much of this weirdo shit. And we're going there, by the way. We're going there. Because we went too far with the tattoos and the piercings. It's went too fucking far. And I'm telling you right now. I told my girl this today. I was like, the way people dress and everything. I said, this is all going to go back. We're all going to be wearing suits. That's where this is going. We're all going to be in suits like the old days. The young kids are going to come up. They're going to be wearing suits and ties and shit. You're going to be like, what the fuck? Because they're going to be so sick of this degenerate, lazy behavior. Let's go out in the fucking pajama pants. See, people are out in SpongeBob pajama pants walking around Walmart shopping. They're not in a pair of black sweatpants. That'd be lazy enough, right? But acceptable. Got black sweatpants, That's SpongeBob sweatpants or pajama pants. Not even sweatpants. Pajama pants. We've gotten so fucking lazy. And eventually, everyone's going to be wearing a suit. Walking around in a fucking suit. Like the old days. That's what I predict. And you're going to see a lot less piercings, a lot less tattoos. Because the generations that come up are going to reject all this goofy, weirdo shit. Because it's went too far. It's just, everyone's got a tattoo. I'm like the only person on the planet that doesn't have a fucking tattoo. It's ridiculous. Like it used to be, you saw someone with a bunch of tattoos, you said, that must be a bad motherfucker. He must be like a biker. He's in a gang or something. Maybe he was in prison. Maybe he's a cage fighter. Whatever he does, it's probably some tough shit. He's got all those tattoos. Now, you see Pete Davidson got a bunch of tattoos. By the way, all these idiots get these tattoos when they're young, get all fucking tatted up. This is why I never got them. Because I knew people that had them, and they were like, never get a tattoo. Everyone I knew that had tattoos told me to never get one. So why would I get one? And the people that did tell me that they were worth it were people that had money. So they could, like, touch them up, keep them looking good, or they were, like, on TV or something. They were, like, a rock star or something. But normal people that had them, that didn't have money to get them touched up, you know, and they fade over time. That's what the dude told me. It's like they fade. And it's just, He's like, if I could go back, I wouldn't have got any of them. And I'm like, damn, I don't. Why would I do that? And the piercing, I could understand a tattoo. But the piercing, I'll never understand that weirdo shit. I can understand getting you a nice sleeve. You fight in the UFC, you're getting some sleeves or something. It fits the persona you're trying to build for yourself. I get it, but the piercing shit, good God. Never understand putting a bolt through your nose. It used to be tasteful. First of all, you never saw guys with piercings. And if they did have them, they were gay. When I was growing up, if a guy had his ears pierced, he was gay. That's the culture I grew up in. If you had your pierced one ear, I can't remember if it was the left or the right, but if you had that ear pierced and you had a little hoop in it or whatever, you're gay. And that's not like a meme or a joke. I'm dead serious. You were considered gay. That's what gay guys did to let other people know they were gay. And maybe you had like a fucking, some rock star had both of his ears pierced or whatever. You know what I mean? And it worked for him because he was a rock star. But then everybody decided just because the rock star had it and it looked cool for him and whatever, they should go get it too. No, you work at a bank, Susan. You're not on tour. You work at a bank. Enough. And now it's gone completely out of control. Even in women, it used to be tasteful. Women had their ears pierced, had nice earrings on. And then maybe a little stud in the nose, a little diamond there. Oh, it's cute, little diamond. Oh, maybe a little hoop, just maybe a little hoop, not some big giant hoop, but maybe a little one, real tight on the nose, kind of just one little gold hoop around the nose there. And you'd see it now and then. The chick was so hot, you'd be like, oh, that's kind of cute. Oh, you don't see that every day. Now you see it every day. Now everyone has it. And they have the bull. They have the septum piercing, which is the worst piercing ever invented, where women have turned themselves into bulls. They think this is a good look. I don't know why. I don't know who told them this is a good look. I don't understand it. I don't know if it's some type of rebellion against men. I don't know what it is about. But you look ridiculous. No guy has ever seen a septum piercing and went, hell yeah. See, women have lost your way. See, it used to be very modest. Got the earrings in the ear, maybe a little, like I said, maybe a little diamond, a little stud, a little tiny stud right there in the nose. Just a little bit. And you're like, oh, that's nice. Eyebrow, lip. No guy ever said, I want to kiss a girl and I want a big piece of metal. Yeah. Even the nipple piercings. First of all, not against the nipple piercings, but you gotta have an incredible pair of tits. They have to be perky, and this is why it's kind of a girl in her 20s type of thing. Maybe she's a goth chick or whatever. But it's not for everybody. These things are not for everybody. The problem is people see it. They see some celebrity with it. And it's like, oh, look at that. And they think they can do it too, but no, you look horrible. You're not Rhea Ripley. Sorry. And the rule still applies. She'd look better without all that too. See, the rule still applies to every woman, doesn't it? No woman ever got hotter because she got a bunch of tattoos. Now, that's not to say there aren't hot women with a bunch of tattoos. It's not to say that. There are. But not you. And the rule still applies. If you got rid of all those tattoos, she'd look better. It's just a fact. Same with the piercings. And the piercings even worse because tattoos can look good. But the piercing will never look well. The nipple piercing can look good, I guess. But like I said, it's got to be all the stars have to align. It's just a fact. Septum piercing never looks good. No, it's never looked good. There's not a single girl you can show me where she has that and you'll say, wow, that's nice. That made her look better. It's never. Don't get me started on putting a bolt through your dick. If you want to stab your dick with anything, you're mentally ill. Simple. I'm a man. I can speak on this. I'm not a woman, so I can't think like a woman. I can't put myself in her head. But you're putting a bolt through your fucking dick, there's something wrong with you, buddy. There's something real wrong with you. Nah, I ain't putting no bolt through my fucking dick. You out of your damn mind. You out of your fucking mind. Oh, it vibrates. Oh. They have things you can wrap around your dick that vibrate. You don't have to put a fucking bolt through your cock. The hell? Bolts in the lower? Yeah, that's weird shit. The piercings are really bad. Like, tattoos can look good, but like I said, the rule still applies. If you got rid of the tattoo, it would look better. But there are tattoos where you go, that's kind of hot, I guess. I've dated a girl that had a bunch of them one time. She spent a lot of money on them, though. They look good, so you have to spend money. If you're gonna tattoo something permanently on your body, it better look damn good. The art better look incredible. Because if it doesn't, what the fuck are you doing? It's on you for the rest of your life. Getting it removed is very expensive and painful, I hear. Those lasers they use. Yeah, don't get anybody's name. What the hell What the? Crazy. People getting their wedding anniversary tatted on them, all kinds of goofy shit. They should ban all these piercings. Thing about the nipple piercing is it only see. Here's the problem with women: they're way too visual. They're way too worried about the visual. They don't stop to think about how it feels, anything that And the things they're doing visually look like shit. The piercings and all, it's just weird. Who mindfuck these women into thinking these piercings look good? And don't tell me women don't care about looking good and what other people think, because goddamn, look how much money they spend on makeup. It's the darndest thing. Like, women spend all this money on makeup and then have like a septum piercing. Like, you don't realize how stupid you look? You're so worried about putting the makeup on, having your face look a certain way so you look pretty and all this shit. And then you got this horrible septum piercing. Girls go too crazy with some of these girls with the piercings. They got the lip, they got the septum, they got the fucking eyebrow. It's insane. Some of the things you see. Some of the shit you see. Crazy. Well, I seen them crying about Trump dancing. These people are miserable. You seen Trump dancing with the Malaysian dancers? And then people going, what is he doing? What is this? That is exactly why you all lost the election. I mean, that miserable ass, stupid fucking bullshit. If Obama would have been dancing with the Malaysian dancers, they'd have been like, oh my Obama, he's so great. Oh my God. Miserable. I guess he should have just ignored him. Should have just walked by and ignored him. And they're so out of touch, too, because when he starts dancing, they all start cheering. This is why Trump wins elections. This is why Trump will probably get a third term. Because ultimately, and I was thinking about this the other day. Thinking about J.D. Vance. And I like J.D. Vance. But here's the problem, and I think we're going to be thinking about this and discussing this a lot more when we get closer to 2028. Because right now it's still far off. But as we get closer, if Trump continues to succeed like he's succeeding, I think we're going to have a real discussion on, and if Trump's health is good, I like J.D. Vance, but he's not Trump. A lot of the stuff Trump is doing and succeeding with right now, it only works because it's Trump. Is Vance going to be able to have this same success? Is he going to be able to smack these world leaders around and restore order? I don't think so. He's not Trump. That's why they're really like, the stuff Trump's doing is like, you know, he's making an impact, whether you like it or not. And they have to worry about like people really, because Trump's saying, I'll run again. He's trolling, but if he keeps succeeding and we're heading into 2028 where like Trump is fucking killing it, is everybody really going to want to go let's just go back to failure? Let's put some goof in there. I don't think so. Especially if he cleans up the crime in these cities and stuff. And that's what Democrats fear. Because, I mean, that's what happened in El Salvador. This motherfucker came in, reduced crime by like 99% in a place that was like ruled by gangs. And the people voted to give him a longer term. Why wouldn't they? Cleaning up crime is how you get votes. Like, it's such a simple thing. Like, you go into some crime-ridden area. Because everybody in that area is not a retarded lunatic, man. They're not. They're all not like, man, I sure love all this crime. No, they're like, dude, what the fuck is going on? So if you go in there and you clean all that up and they can, make it a safe area, and, it's going to be hard for people not to want to vote for you again. This is why you're seeing them fight so hard, especially in Chicago and shit. If he cleans up Chicago and you don't have like 40 people shot every weekend, it's done. They can't have that. Who gives a fuck? If you're here illegally, you should be deported. How hard is it to prove you're a citizen of the fucking country? I mean, give me a break. And these Democrats have given illegals identification, letting them get social security numbers and shit. They've made it harder to just know someone's not a citizen. There's all this scamming bullshit. That's all right, though. I voted to clean it up. I voted to clean it up, Joe, Jim, whatever your name is. I voted to clean this shit up. I voted to restore order. And so far, going as planned. And you're tossing, you're turning, oh, God, oh. Everything's going as planned. John Bolton's ass going to jail. Put these motherfuckers in prison. Now, they've always done what? Why does an illegal alien get due process? What is the due process for an illegal alien? Why does an illegal alien get a trial before he's deported? It made no fucking sense. And I understand. Oh, God, what if they deport an American citizen? And da-da-da-da-da. Show me that. Show me that happening. And don't show me some 2-year-old girl, her parents were illegal. Knock it off. Knock it off with that nonsense. See, people want to act like fucking children. That's why you motherfuckers shouldn't be allowed to vote, because you act like little kids. When you talk about serious issues, you're children. To think that two people can come over here, man and woman come over here illegally, and then they have a kid, and the kid is automatically an American, is ridiculous. And everybody knows it is. That's not how it's supposed to be. That's ridiculous. At least one of your parents got to be an American citizen for you. For you to be considered an American, I think. Now, if your daddy goes over to England, bangs some British woman and wants to bring her back, it's my wife now, got her pregnant, that's acceptable. And I believe that's already a thing anyway. But you don't get to come here with your wife from another country illegally, you're both illegal, and pop out a bunch of kids and say, all right, these kids are Americans now. What a scam. That's a fucking scam, and you know it. Just like I shouldn't be able to illegally enter the country of Japan with my girlfriend, and then we have a kid in Japan. We're like, this is a Japanese kid. It's not. It's not a Japanese kid. What the fuck are you talking about? How many actual adult U.S. citizens have been deported by ICE? What's the number? All time. Let's just get all time number. More than 100? Is it? And of that 100, how many are... I bet if we went case by case... You know how some liberal gives you some data and it looks like they won the argument, but then you go through the data, you go case by case, and you realize, wait a minute, liberal. Hold on, liberal. Because they were like, the leftist fight. Remember that? The right wing is more violent, and they had this fucking article they were passing around, all this statistics and stuff. Some study. Well, then you look into the study, and you look at all the cases they use, and it's fucking ridiculous. The things they counted as right-wing violence. We're definitely not right-wing violence. Liberals are really good at lying on, you know, they're on the surface, these lies. If you just stay on the surface and you'll believe it. But if you look into it a little bit, you don't have to dig too deep to realize they're full of shit. Tom Homan's getting them out of here. Enough. I can't believe it's even an argument. It's just stupid. You come to the country illegally, you get caught by immigration, and you get deported. Like, duh. The fuck? That's like driving down the road with a bunch of cocaine in the trunk of your car. Or in the back seat of the car, I guess. And then you get pulled over by the cops, and They lock you up, and you're all like, oh. And you're like protesting. Like there's people outside the prison like protesting. Like you knew it was illegal to be driving down the road with a pound of cocaine in the back seat, but you was doing it. And the cop put, and you were speeding too. A lot of these dumbass illegals come over here and commit more crimes. So you get busted because you're committing another crime. And then they're like, hey, wait a minute. This guy ain't even supposed to be here. Bye, guy. You ain't even got sense enough to go sit down somewhere. You got into the country illegally, and you can't go sit your fucking ass down somewhere. And liberals are like, yeah, the guy sitting that came in and sit down, you got to let him stay. No. You can't let him stay. That's ridiculous. It's like there's a party going on. There's a bunch of people lined up outside, a big-ass line. And then there's some guy that walks past the line. And he just cuts everybody and walks in. You got to kick him out. He can't do that. You got to go get in the back of the line. I mean, grow up. When are you people going to grow up? You can't. You got to let him cut the line. I mean, how silly and childish. Even children. I don't even think you can call it childish because children would understand this. A child would understand, hey, that guy cut the line. When children are lined up to do something and some child tries to cut the line, the children know that ain't right. Grown-ass adults don't seem to get that. I seen that Don Lemon telling the illegal aliens to get guns. They're unhinged. I done told you. Don Lemon wants you to go get a fucking gun and fight ICE agents. And he said that. How is he not? It's just crazy to me. I just don't understand it. Look, put aside Donald Trump and all, put aside all that. Put aside the politics and put aside all of that and just think about how insane it is that people can like threaten the federal government, threaten like law enforcement agents and shit, and nothing happens. Now, if we did that, if we were on here saying the things Don Lemon was saying, we'd get a knock on the door. They'd lock our dumb. They wouldn't even waste time with it. They'd lock us up. Get this fucking retard out of here. But these fucking goofs can go on TV and just keep saying this crazy shit. Put aside Donald Trump. These are federal agents. In what world do you think you can make threats to kill them? It's insane. It's insane behavior. Put aside however you feel about police. That's irrelevant to what I'm saying. It's insane to publicly threaten the police. That's nuts. That's nuts. That's insane fucking behavior. Who the fuck does that? But it just shows how people think. It's just they can do whatever the fuck they want. No, you can't do that. You can't get on your little show and say, shoot the ICE. You can't do that. But Nothing will happen to Don Lemon. He won't be arrested. It's free speech. The people who tell you that's free speech are the same people that told you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. Remember that bullshit? See, I remember all this shit. Remember that whole hoopla? Oh, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. You were like, I think we should be able to have a discussion about the vaccine before we take it. We can't have a discussion about it. No, hey. There are limits to free speech. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater, after all. And right now, our country's on fire with the virus. And then when I say, hey, buddy, you can't tell people to kill people. You can't get on your show and tell people to go kill people. What about free speech? That's what they say. What about free speech? Well, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. I'm going to start saying that to them. I'll turn it right back on them. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater now. And right now, our country's on fire with what Donald Trump's doing. You got flipping around on with what Donald Trump's doing with the ICE and all this stuff. Our country's very divided. There's a lot of division. Our country's burning right now. Figuratively, it's on fire. And the things you're saying are inciting. You're like putting a match to the gasoline. It's like yelling fire in a crowded theater now. People could get hurt. Smokey. These doctors and nurses that forced grandma to die in the bedroom alone and the family had to FaceTime from out in the parking lot. Smokey, they were just doing their job, Smokey. They were just doing their job. Kind of like how the ICE agents are just doing their job. Their job is to find illegal aliens and deport them. It's their job. And you've let in millions of illegal aliens. You're like, well, the way they're doing it. Well, the way you were doing it led to this way of doing it. The way you handled the border, which everybody told you was a bad idea. And I told you I told you back in 2019 that eventually this problem was going to get so bad you weren't going to like the way it was handled. Well, here we are. Now you need to buck up and quit fucking whining about it and hold your L like a man. Because this crying is pathetic. You all did this. Hector's been in the country 30 years, Smokey. How could you want him to beat the... Oh, well, you did that. See, nobody was worried about Hector. You understand? Nobody was concerned about Hector mowing the grass at the fucking... Nobody cared. Until you let in 30 million motherfuckers. And then people said, man, there sure are a lot of Hectors. You notice there's a lot of Hectors? This is crazy. Where'd all these Hectors come from? I remember when there was some Hectors, and they were cool. But there's a lot of them now, and they're raping and killing and stealing, some of them. They're not just mowing grass and building houses anymore. There's real criminal activity going on. And then somebody said, yeah, they took over an apartment complex around the corner. Oh. Well, the news told me that didn't happen, even though it was on video. News said. And then liberals were arguing with me. That was just a gang coming to get their money. Like, what? Why are there gangs operating in the apartment complex? And why are you defending it anyway? Donald Trump's like, we got to put a stop to that. And they're like, wait a minute now. Hold up a minute. It's not that big of a deal. Liberals have really lost their minds. They see gang members walking through the apartment complex with guns, and they say, that's not that big of a deal. You just got to use common sense. That's what Parr says. You just got to use common sense, and you got to, you just got to, you got to watch yourself out there. And it's like, what if you could walk down the road and not have to worry about watching yourself? What about that? What if we had a country like that? Where you didn't keep letting out every violent lunatic you could. What a concept. And that's where we're going, by the way. We are going to get to a point where you have National Guard soldiers, not in every city, but in these crime-ridden areas, because people are sick of it, and that's really the only way to put a stop to it. You have made these areas so bad that you literally have to use the military to get this under control. Good job, liberal. And these areas have been controlled by liberals for decades. So this is not the Republicans didn't do this. I love how everything that happens, they find a way to blame a Republican. If there's a bunch of shootings, well, the guns came from Indiana. Oh. Well, they were being shot in Illinois. So, what the fuck's going on in Illinois? It's funny. Indiana has all these guns, but same thing's not happening there like it's happening here. What's going on? It's another low IQ opinion. Like, we can boil this all down to just there's just too many guns. Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, makes sense. Everybody's fat because there's just too many burgers. I think it's a little deeper than that. We all have access to the burgers, and we're all not fat, so maybe you're misusing the burger. Everybody can go get a gun, but everybody's not shooting people with them. Maybe it's deeper than that. Maybe if you ban the gun, then people will just stab motherfuckers. And then all the liberal can say is, well, that's better than mass shootings because they'll be able to kill less people. Well, people are still going to die. How about we have less people get killed by getting rid of the mentally ill people, putting them in prison, put them in mental institutions, getting them the fuck up out of here. You ever think of that? I had to go to the bathroom. Imagine that. If you just stuck a crazy, lunatic, dangerous bastard in a cell and just left him there. play a game. I'll let you people cry about a ballroom. Me? I'm probably gonna go play VR. While you cry about the ballroom. Man, that ballroom's gonna be amazing. I don't understand why you're crying. Oh yeah, dude, you're mentally ill. You're mentally ill. Mentally ill. You're fucking mentally ill.